The world's most popular anything is the kind of trivia I like, even if that anything isn't something I'd otherwise be interested in. Like the world's most popular clothes hanger or stepladder. And then there's the Fender Stratocaster, considered the most popular electric guitar. It looks as good as it sounds, which is why George Harrison said he would want one, even if it were a doorstop.
If you live in Los Angeles, you get to the city of Corona by driving about 50 miles southeast. For most of Corona's first 100 years, the best reason to go there was agriculture. These days, though, Corona has become a destination haven for families and those wishing to start one someday. It's not the kind of place you'd expect to see a rock star walking down the street. But in fact, you just might, because Corona is home to a Fender musical instruments factory where the company's American Stratocaster guitars are made. The Fender story begins more than 60 years ago with Mr. Leo Fender. Like most future inventors, Leo loved to tinker from the time he was a kid. Radios and almost anything electrical were his specialties. But he also had an ear for music and an eye for the Hawaiian lap steel guitar. Fender's senior VP of marketing, Richard McDonald, picks up the story.
He had a radio shop just down the street in Fullerton, California that sold everything electronic, including lap steels and amplifiers.
Was he a guitar player himself?
He wasn't a musician. He was a saxophone player, but never really pursued it greatly, but a huge fan of music.
What Leo wanted to do was marry the playing ease of the lap steel to the sound of the acoustic Spanish guitar and create something entirely new.
Now you have to remember, by 1930, the electric guitar was pretty well established and was being played in orchestras and combos all across America, but it hadn't really evolved yet. It was more like a standard acoustic guitar with a pickup. And so this guitar has the very penetrating, cutting sound that's the hallmark of our sound, but it's very important because it carries a room, it cuts through on stage through drums and bass and all the other instruments. It really brought guitars to the front of the stage.
Players who tried it had a few suggestions, which Leo turned into modifications. Soon came the Stratocaster, a name that joined the stratosphere and broadcast television, two hot topics of the 1950s.
The guys would come back to Leo and they say, gosh, I just love the guitar, but I'll tell you, after 3 or 4 hours of playing, my rib cage kind of hurts, and I notice I have a big bruise right here on my arm. So,
Ergo,
there you go.
as they say
Ergo.
in the Latin. Therefore,
the contoured body. So now it fits nicely up against the rib cage. You can play it for 3 or 4 hours at a time. The top is contoured for your armrest.
oh yeah, look at that.
Sure.
You do a massage with that.
Right.
To make a Fender guitar, whether it's for Barney Hofnagel or Eric Clapton, you begin in the wood shop. Woods like alder, poplar, and maple are used for the necks and bodies. Since no two woods sound alike, the choice is critical. Mike Eldred explains.
Difference in the sound, the harder the wood, what does that do to the sound?
Brighter the sound.
Brighter, crisper the sound.
Yeah.
Because it bounces off faster.
Yeah.
And the softer the wood would probably absorb a little bit of the sound.
A little bit warmer sounding guitar. But then you also have different neck woods. It'll really change the sound a lot, much more than the pickups do or electronics.
A special router cuts up to 8 guitar bodies at a time. It carves out the cavities that will hold the electronics. Next, the bodies are sent through a machine that turns them into, well, Stratocasters.
This machine's super cool. What it does is it cuts the contours on a Stratocaster body. It does the back contour and the front contour right off the bat, which is what this is. You see that's for your arm, and for somebody like me, it'd be for your belly there.
The necks are cut into Leo Fender's original shape. Then, in the custom shop, they're altered according to taste. Every rock legend, apparently, has his own preferences. And those preferences aren't just for shape and feel. They're for looks, too. The art is protected by layers of polyurethane that have to air dry on a rack that looks like the top floor at Guitars R Us.
So this is our conveyor. Obviously, when you're painting guitars and you have to have someplace to put them. So we can't just stack them up in boxes somewhere. This is really like a storage device. So we keep bodies up here until we need them.
What they may be needed for is a little instant aging. Some guitarists want their new guitars to look like they've already been to the mosh pit and back.
Oh, I thought it's for some beginner guitar player to hang around a park just to pick up girls. You're like, oh, whoa, he must be a good guitar player. Got all the scratches on his guitar.
Yeah.
It's like buying a new car with dents and scratches already in it. And putting them there can be a lot of fun.
Well, you have to do it in the right place or you could really ruin the guitar.
What's that?
Come on. No, whoa.
What?
That's a little too deep.
Well, it was dropped from the 30th floor of the hotel.
It's about $6,000 that we can't use now, John.
It's worth about $12,000 now.
There you go.
Naturally, no matter how good the guitar looks, if it doesn't sound good, it's not worth playing. What makes a Strat worth playing is what goes into it. And where it all goes in is the metal shop. Some of the machines here have been in use longer than the people who use them.
These are old Delta drill presses from the original factory. And what we do is we're making bridge blocks.
A bridge block?
The string will attach here. It'll go in here. They'll drill holes all the way through. And then it attaches to that bottom piece that sits on this. And then it rocks back and forth. And there's springs underneath that make it go like this.
This is what makes it do the wah, wah, wah.
The what?
The wah, wah, wah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Meet Abigail Ibarra. If you don't recognize her name, it's because you're not a rock star. Some of them won't play a guitar unless she personally has made its pickup.
I started working with Leo Fender in 1956, making pickups and...
What's a pickup?
This is a pickup. This is the music part of the guitar. The strings go over each magnet, and that's what makes a sound.
So this is the soul of the guitar.
Yes,
So you put actually the soul into the guitar.
I do.
Do musicians come here and thank you?
Yeah, they do.
By designing his guitars to be constructed modularly, Leo Fender did two things. First, he revolutionized the process, making it so that each part was interchangeable. If a neck, for example, wears out or gets damaged, a few quick screws here and there, and presto, new neck. Which brings up the second thing Leo did. He made it easier for guys like Jimi Hendrix to trash a perfectly good guitar on stage.
Because you use such heavy-duty screws, too. You don't scrimp on the hardware, do you?
No, you have to make sure that it doesn't come off.
Once the electronics are joined to the body, the tuning pegs are inserted. Then the guitar gets its strings. Now comes the fun part. This is one place where play is work and working is playing.
Sounds familiar.
Yes, sirree. Fender guitars, made in America.